Bitesize webinar. We're joined today by Sean Henderson from Stool FM, and he's going to be leading the webinar today on the topic of sustainable communities and social value in FM. So just a kind of brief overview, as I'm sure lots of you will be familiar with us. So we are the Sustainable Facilities Management Index. We assess the how organisations are able to embed sustainability into their own operations, as well as science as well. We have our 4 pillars, the SFMI, and we want to drive good practice leadership within the industry. So we've got today with us Stool FM, group for more than 15 years and has 40 years of experience within the industry, and he's going to be leading the webinar today. So just before I do hand over to him, just to let everyone know, as usual, we have the Q&A function, which is live now, as well as the chat function. So chat function, you can kind of talk about this yourselves, but if you do have any questions for the Q&A section at the end of today's webinar, please do put that into the Q&A function that we can keep it all in one place. But I won't last too long, and I'll hand it to you.
Hello everyone. I thought I'd start begin with some context on the subject and how we view this in our organisation. Before I tell you more about our story so far and how we're acting on this, I'll just start to share my screen. This all works if everybody can see that. I hope you can all see that.
Yeah, that's right.
So, as we know, sustainability covers a broad subject. It's an essential part of achieving and developing a healthy business and building a sustainable future for us all. That's everyone. And the FM industry is ideally placed to play that vital role in supporting local communities to create and capture wealth and enriching people's lives, and in doing so. So in this bite-sized webinar, I'll be explaining how our business is working with clients, communities to create and develop that sustainable future, discuss our soul compass, and that's how we've sort of split this into 4 sectors with people, planet, places and performance, and with an aim to bring sort of clarity and focus, and how our compass helps to measure the business, keeping all elements in balance. So if I just move along one slide, just bear with me. Yeah, so welcome everybody. Obviously, I'm joining today's show, we'll give you an insight into this journey. And I'll start with a quick elevator pitch on the Soul business, just to give you some context, because not only does the FM business feed into this, you know, we've got other businesses within the group and the estates business. We run retail forecourts. We've got 13 of those, and in the estates business we have construction, we have investments, and we have some consultancy area. So that's us as a business. My journey spans sort of 40 years in construction, from trade level to MD positions, and I've been involved in some of the construction of, you know, a sort of health portfolio, engaging with the user groups and communities during construction phases, and involved in FM delivery with some of these relationships now spending over 10 years. So quickly, so we deliver sort of general maintenance, life cycle planning, the PPM, and statutory compliant. Now, sort of local hands-on support ensures our buildings are safe, legal, and well maintained. But we've been recognised for the Queen's Award from Promoting Opportunity, Social Mobility, and recognised as a Sunday Times Best Company. But our strategy is really underpinned by our culture and behaviours, and you can see those on the slide, obviously. Positive, professional, customer focused, team players, and always doing the right thing. And it does start with the culture of the organisation. You know, we look clearly at obviously technical competence, but the culture of our people is the main thing that really does underpin our social value. So, looking at all these terms thrown around CSR, doing the right thing, being a force for good, and all the fluffy stuff, they all mean the same thing. You know, the government's preferred phrase is social value, which is now becoming more prominent across all industries. We all do this in our general lives, you know, I think, but we're not all the best at capturing it. We now all need it for bid purposes to demonstrate this in our quality questions relating to our commitment to creating social value within contracts. And we've captured it previously within our CAFM systems, but we're now using a My Compliance platform to record these initiatives, acts and time spent, and under the heading of sustainability, with other drop-down fields as we capture our sort of near misses and incidents. This is then entered onto our monthly dashboard, which covers all our book business units and gives us an overall view of where we are within the group as we go on year. So social value is consciously considering and acting upon a business's social environment and economic effects on the communities from top down to bottom up. The social value offers us a way to understand and generate real value for money. Using key tools, quantifiable outcomes are created, giving monetary value to that social and economic and environmental impact on our business. Across our group, we use the National TOMS framework, you know, for those themes, outcomes and measures. It's used, which is created through that social value portal. The National TOMS started as a solution for the Social Value Act and has quickly evolved into social value measurement standards, and to maximise the initiatives we do as a business. So the next slide gives us some sort of context of what we do as a business, you know, and some examples of what we've been up to lately. We aim to leave a positive legacy wherever we go. You know, we give our people 5 volunteer days each year, which they enjoy using to be able to help the community and groups near to where we work. You know, our facilities manager, Jim, the other day, you know, he's, you know, volunteered to assist the Help for Ukraine campaign. Julie and Amy, you know, they joined a Plant a Tree Today Foundation to help plant trees, which contributes to carbon offsetting. We regularly do litter picks around our centres, you know, whether that's health or schools, you know, and, you know, we work in that partnership. Just telling one of my stories, I joined the litter pick with some of the team the other day, you know, on Saturday morning. You know, I was down one of the alleyways to the centre, you know, and picking up somebody's takeaway from the night before, and this little old lady stops me, you know, she said, "Are you doing this, you know, you're volunteering to do this?" You know, we got into conversation, and it is very humbling, you know, to be able to spend that time and just, you know, support those communities. We do ensure a minimum of 70% of our parts and supply chain are local. You know, we support other parts of business with charity golf days. We get our supply chain involved. We don't have any problems, getting raffle prizes. They're all quick to get the hand in the pocket, and it all goes to a very good cause at the end. Our health centres, some are in the city centres. We run, collections for warm clothes at this time of year, to support the homeless and other local charities. But again, it's all about going back to our people, our customer care team on our help desk. They're all on sort of first name terms with our customers. They know their birthdays, and they take that time to have those general conversations about the good old British weather and holidays, etc. So, it's all about that people and culture. Our engineers out in the field, they're afforded that time to sit and have that cup of tea with the customer. It's not all just about sort of task time allocation. We need to give our people that time. We manage different environments in our business, from high-risk mental health facilities to community schools with, children with disabilities and special needs. One particular school, only last week, they had the dreaded Ofsted visit that they all dread, should I say. Our FOs, stayed back till 8 p.m. that night before, just to help prepare the school with the staff, putting up a timeline that they were precious about, displaying, and fixing it up at a high level. That's, what our people do. So the other thing I do from a sort of managing director perspective is I get out there to see it myself. I run with a back to the floor program across all our people, right top to bottom, and it's invaluable to walk other people's shoes, and you'll be very surprised at the stuff you see and how your people act, and it's good for their well-being and even mine. But our facilities officers on our education portfolio, they do everything from looking after the ducks on the pond, ducks, getting involved in gardening clubs, rugby training, in their lunch breaks, and supporting school sports days. And that's just to name a few. We've been fortunate enough to support, like going back, a few more years, the whole City of Culture, where we were a main sponsor, but it provided many initiatives for our people to get involved with. So this is how we have been looking at it. We're looking at a 5-year horizon with our goals based on a 2026 target to keep that momentum going, because things change very quickly in the world, and where technologies or newer ideas create different opportunities. Our aim is to have a consistently high-performing and thriving business, progressing our sustainability journey in a humble and authentic way, and be a force for good in our operations. We have a sustainability working group to help drive our sustainability forward, to help people, on these sectors, planet, places, and overall performance, which as a business, we're a commercial entity, we have to consider that too. So people are our priority. We keep this very simple. Everyone matters to us. We strive to keep our people and wider stakeholders cared for, healthy, engaged, and consistently demonstrating our vision of being a great place to work and be a great company to deal with. So places, again, providing a meaningful and humble contribution to our local business, leaving that positive legacy wherever we go. So I hope that has given you a bit of an insight what we do, but it is very much based around the culture and our people and living those values. So if anybody has any questions or answers, just quickly, just to leave some sort of valid points or some points that, in final messages. Clearly, there's no blueprint for this stuff. There's no one size fits all. I think if I was to give anybody's organisation some advice, is start with a robust system to capture it all. That everybody has access to and can contribute to, because that's where we probably fell down in the past or in the early days. Be humble in everything you do. Yes, all the awards and recognitions are great, but we have a saying at our FM board that we want to be the best unknown regional FM provider. So again, I think encourage your people as leaders, your management, to do a lot of this stuff by walkabout. You find out so much. It's great that we're collecting all the matrices as leaders and managers, but actually getting out there in the field, there's no better place. I take a day out of a day out of every fortnight in my diary to make sure I do this religiously, and I can't endorse it enough. But yeah, all about culture of your organisation and doing the right thing. I don't know if anybody's got any questions.
We'll just wait a sec, just as some questions come in, but thank you very much, Sean. That was really, really interesting.
Okay.
So I just reshare my screen as well, which was just back onto the Q&A bit. So I know you kind of touched there a little bit at the end on kind of, some aspects that people should be focusing on, kind of as a kind of general overview. But then looking at organisations who are kind of just first starting in their sustainability journey, what would you say the first few things are, that first maybe kind of 2 or 3 things that they should initially tackle, kind of as they start, before they get into the kind of the nitty gritty bits, for kind of especially around the kind of measurement of social value?
I think, Sophie, it's, we're clearly, empowering your people, and giving the autonomy, because as I said, there's no blueprint for this stuff. It's about being nice people, isn't it, and doing that right thing. It's difficult to give it a sort of tangible explanation, but it is driven by the culture of the organisation. You've got to genuinely mean it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And what would you say have kind of been your key challenges as you've started to implement this, and kind of even throughout your Soul Compass, for example? Have you kind of faced any specific challenges in kind of introducing that type of kind of cultural style within the organisation?
Yeah, I think we have. I think we've all sort of lived a bit of a journey, and employing people, whether it's sustainability managers or that sort of thing. And I did liken it the other day, as sort of, I'm going back to my construction sort of background, where health and safety was really kicked in into the 90s, and everybody, now it's just second nature. Now, and I just liken this, that sustainability and social value is that next sort of health and safety. It will just become the norm, and getting our people to think of it like that is a journey that we all have to go on.
Absolutely. And then kind of on that kind of the people side of things, obviously working with your clients is fantastic, but how do you drive that kind of internal engagement? So I know you mentioned you have, up to 5, I think it was 5 volunteering days per year for each of your employees, but how do you communicate that internally? Because I think that's something that some organisations, don't necessarily know how to start with. Do you go with, kind of internal, you have your own kind of intranet, or do you have kind of newsletters and things like that?
Yeah. We our comms team, everybody feeds into a fortnightly newsletters, which, because we are such a diverse group and we've got people working in different business units that bring all this information together. So, it gives them their ability to share their stories on that newsletter. But we, Even after this session today, we're straight into our third quarter sort of team briefing, for all our people to dial in, and obviously we touch on all these matters. So yeah, you can never really over communicate. I like to think we're fairly good at it.
Absolutely. Fab. Well, thank you very much for answering those questions that we've had today. If there are any kind of extra questions that people think of kind of after the webinar, then please do feel free to send them across on an email, and we can get Sean to kind of provide a response to those, and we can include those in our next newsletter as well. So let's move on. So just kind of to finish off for today's webinar, we've just got a little bit about kind of what's coming next within the SFMI. So as many of you will be aware, and many of you may have already had your audit, we've got the SFMI 2022 audits going on at the moment. They've been kind of going on throughout September and October. So we are coming towards the end of the audit season, which is bit of a relief. And then we've also recently updated and published our 2020 Superior report as well. That's for them, so you can find that on our website. And then finally, the SFMI 2022 awards at the end of November. We now have the date, which is the 29th of November, in the morning at 9 till 10:30. Also, our Eventbrite and Zoom pages now have gone live, so you will be able to sign up and book your place. So make sure you do soon to make sure that you secure a spot in the awards. So I think that is everything for us for today. The recording for this webinar will be going live onto our YouTube page very shortly, and you can look out for that as well, which will also include a link to in the next video as well as on our